Again, this afternoon, I'm faced with following Gene. After this morning, I had the same problem here, but I can tell I haven't got to know Gene very well in the past there, but visiting with him here today and yesterday, and since we've been here, we think a lot alike in line breeding. But anyway, I'll give you a little history. I'm the third generation Angus breeder. My granddad started in the 1950s. Then my dad got started in the 1960s. And I worked away from the ranch for a while, came back in 1988, and been there ever since. My dad, when I first come back, he told me, he said, we're going to breed cattle the way he thinks they should be bred, maternally, functionally, good feet, good udder quality. Don't forgive them for not calving or taking care of their calf or whatever. We're going to be very unforgiving, and we've kept that in mind. And we just I've been doing that since 1988. And he said at that time, we don't even care if we ever sell another bull, but this is the way we're going to breed, and we're going to breed for the females, and that's what we've done. And we've done a lot of line breeding also, not exclusive line bred herd, but we do from time to time step out and use some outside sires, use some people that source them from people I really trust. Very important, I believe. More important to go into a herd and trust and believe in the philosophies of what that breeder does than go in there and pick out the perfect bull or perfect cow or whatever. It's much easier to trust the guy that you're dealing with, and in many cases let them pick it out. And that's what many of my customers have done in the past. We have probably over half of our customers probably have never been to our ranch. They call and they've learned to trust what we've sent them, and it's worked well. So anyway, there is our cows probably go back. There's about 3 cow families that you could mention that there isn't a single animal in the herd, and we're calving over 400 head now that don't go to one of these 3 cows, and many of them many times. And one cow in particular, I can think of our old 368 cow. She stayed in the herd till she was 22 years old, and we still have a daughter of her. She was bred again this fall. She's 19 years old. And I remember back when she was a calf, we had a tour at our place, and we displayed that cow and calf. And there was a guy on that tour that approached me and wanted to buy her. And I'm very glad I didn't make a deal with him and sell her, because, but at that time he wanted to know what this calf's pedigree was, this heifer calf. And I said, well, I says the grandmother on the sire side is also the mother. And he looked at me and he said, that ain't possible. And I says, well, yeah, it is possible. And Gene knows, yeah, but the dam to the sire was the same cow as what the dam was. So, line bred, and here this cow is, to no surprise, this 19-year-old cow bred again, and she's still in the herd and still functional, still good udder quality feet. And so the longevity is without question something that we have paid most attention to. And to get that longevity, when you're going to look at bulls or females, digging them pedigrees and ask questions. Well, how long did the mother stay in production? And how long did the grandmother stay in production? And those types of things. That's that's probably the thing that's been most overlooked, but when you breed for maximum EPD numbers, like what the mainstream has done in the last 20 years, it's no wonder that, that some of the mainstream cattle, and I mentioned Angus, but it's probably the same in many breeds there, that you're lucky to get 3 to 4 calves out of them. And but they've been selected for maximum in growth, they're maximized in carcass, and just the EPD numbers, they just keep maximizing on those numbers. And my dad and I have had conversations many times in the past. He said, you look around, look at the neighbor's cattle, and the people that have spent the least money on bulls have the best cows. And it's very true, because the bulls bring in the most money, usually bring the most money because they're most in something, and usually it's in EPD numbers. The bulls in the glossy magazines, they're in there because they're the most in something. Usually it's in most of them they'll list all kinds of things that they're the most in. They're in the top 2% or the top 1% in all these different traits. Well, if you want cattle to last, those are very good ones to shy away from, because you breed for the most in anything, you will absolutely lose the longevity. I don't have a problem with average. We've used many bulls in our herd that are average, or maybe sometimes even a little below average. So I'd much rather see a production record of a cow having 8 calves at 98 ratio than a cow with 3 at 110. That cow at 110, she won't make it to 15 years old. I can pretty well assure you. So anyway, that's pretty much all I got. But anyway, I guess one other thing I wanted to mention was, and Gene touched on it also, I don't know, and it depends on what your goals are as far as line breeding goes. Most people that are breeding for meat will benefit greatly on buying a line bred bull. But if all you're looking to do is produce meat, for you to line breed probably isn't beneficial. Gene mentioned the regression, and that's very much true. We've had bulls that have been very intensely line bred, and I know in my mind that those bulls would go do somebody a good job if I could convince them. But it's just like Gene says, it's a tough sale. Your neighbor comes over, or whoever comes over, and you got this scrub-looking bull there that don't look like much, but you know what he's capable of doing when you outcross him. But it's a tough sale. So anyway, thank you.